Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to show you how to quickly fly or perform an ILS approach on the TBM930 the fastest way and easiest way possible into Toronto Billy Bishop Toronto City Airport. We're going to be using ILS runway 26 and there's a few things that we need to do first of all. Now this video is aimed at allowing you to quickly perform the ILS approach without going through too much detail. There will be another video later on where I will show you how to do it in detail. We'll talk about lower saves and minimas, so on and so forth, go around procedures, miss approaches. But in this one we're just going to quickly intercept the ILS and I'll show you how to do it. Now before you do that, there's a few things you need to understand. First of all, the ILS can only be intercepted or is best intercepted from the back. Okay, that means flying towards it. You can't intercept it facing away from the runway. You have to be at least 30 degrees either side of the localizer. Okay, so when you're 30 degrees either side of the localizer, you can expect full CDI deflection, and that allows you to descend below lower safe. So just bear that in mind when you're trying to perform the ILS approach. You have to be intercepting the localizer at 30 degrees or less of the center line. Now we're going to need another thing. We're going to need the ILS frequency. So there are a few ways to obtain it. One is by looking up charts. So what I've done is I've just Googled CYTZ charts, and then I've come down here to torontofir.ca, which is the official VetSim Canada web page. So I've gone down here to CYTZ Toronto City Centre PDF, scrolled down, found ILS runway 26, and this is the approach plate that we'll be using. And all we need to do is key in the localizer frequency. Do note that the localizer frequency is the same as the DMA frequency, which is the same as the Localizer frequency, which actually is in UHF, but it's tied together. So all you need to do is tune your frequency up to 110.15. Okay, now back into the cockpit. Okay, so I've already done that previously. So let's go down to the NavCom page, audios and channel, audio and radios. There we go. It's in F1 and it's in F2, and if you will know you have got this correct if the CDI changes to a localizer mode. Okay, so we are more or less 30 degrees on either side. So what we need to do now is click on approach, and we're just waiting for the CDI needle to come about half scale, and then the aircraft should fly its way down. Now you can also see that the glide slope is already here as well. Now it's something a little bit different from normal localizers. So you get at airports, the localizer antenna is actually off center, so that's something you might want to note when you get closer. Next thing we do is you want to slow down and make sure you're below 178 knots so that you'll be within the right speed to deploy the landing gear. Okay, so all we're doing now is we're just waiting to intercept the center line. Now in the meantime, you can do one of a few things. You can make sure you can set the aircraft up for landing and turn the landing lights on. I like to use the pulse lights because it just gives you better visibility. Make sure the seatbelts, if they are on, they're on. There are no seatbelt signs here. Just yell your passengers, just turn around, yell at them. If they haven't already done so, make sure the boost pump is on auto, make sure the fuel selector is on auto, ignition on auto, and you're good to go. Okay, we just come to the left slightly. Now the best way to slow down an aircraft or any aeroplane is in straight and level. So if you're struggling to slow down, just level the plane off and then pull the throttles back and slow down. Okay, shoot, capture. Okay, it's coming. Right. we go. Right. What I like to do is set the heading back to the runway heading in case we need to go around for whatever reason. So since the autopilot is holding 2,000 feet, what I like to do is deploy the first stage of flaps. So that will give you that will put the aircraft nose down just a little bit, give you a little bit better forward visibility, and also it just gives you more time to react. Okay. So all we're waiting to do now is just for the glide slope to come down, and then we'll just fly it all the way down to the runway. So that's a good time to slow it right down to the white arc, and we'll just keep the speed just about there. Okay, let's bring it back a little bit more. So glide slope is 1 knot above, landing gear down. Okay, so the glide slope has been captured, deploy full flaps. So everything's already been set up at this point, so all we're doing now is just pitching the aircraft. Once the aircraft is on profile, it's on glide slope, all we need to do now is just set the power to achieve 90 knots. Okay, so we're a little bit above the glide slope. That's fine. Now the approach, the VREF for this aircraft I believe is 80 knots. 85 knots, sorry. But I like to set it at 90 knots. So I find it to be a little bit more stable. Now this ILS approach into this airport is a bit unique. If you look over here on the plate, it says that the glide path is 4.8 degrees. That's the reason why it looks a bit steep. Most glide slopes are about 3 degrees. So just slow it down just a tad. So we're just gonna fly down to 600 feet, and then we'll disengage the autopilot and fly manually. As you can see, the antennas are offset. Okay, so assume we've broken our cloud. Take the autopilot off. Make sure your yaw damper is turned off at this point. Do a quick final check. So propellers, undercarriage down 3 green, flaps full, clear to land. Yep, just fly the aircraft all the way down. You can zoom out a little bit if you want to. Okay, just fly it all the way down. My hands are completely off the throttle right now. Well, not completely off, my hand's still on it, but there's no need to make any power adjustments at this point in time. I've gone below the glide slope. That's fine, I'm aiming for the numbers. Okay, so as you're coming over the threshold, close the throttle, look towards the end of the runway, just run off, straight level, straight level, straight level, lead off the speed, hold back, and there we go, we are down. Alright, go into beta, full reverse, get the nose wheel down, slight forward pressure, tap on the brakes, look towards the end of the runway. Okay, coming at 40 knots, go back to flight idle, and that's how you perform an ILS quickly. Thanks for watching, I hope this helps. See you next time.